Hey everyone, I've got a pretty fun Titan build I wanted to share with you today. This build in question will allow you to continuously Ballistic Slam enemies in PvE, which will net you super energy at double, dare I say triple the normal speed. The best part? It only takes 4 mods to get going, and is great for pretty much any PvE activity. Now, this isn't going to work for Grandmaster Nightfalls, but for things like Vanguard Strikes, Gambit, or even Dungeons, it's awesome. I first discovered this build out of a desire to spice up my Falling Star Thundercrash playstyle. I found I was holding onto my super for only the spongiest of enemies, but that always felt a little restrictive as I was using up a whole exotic slot for the fun factor to only come in a few times per strike or match. It wasn't until I realized that Ballistic Slam actually inherently grants you extra super energy, and so with that I decided just to go all in on a melee build. And here it is, the Infinite Ballistic Slam build. The core essence of this revolves around 2 Charge with Light mods and 2 Elemental Well mods. For which elements you'll need your armor to be, 2 must be arc, but the rest can be whatever you want. So the first important combination includes both Melee Wellmaker and Elemental Charge. Melee Wellmaker will allow you to create that arc Elemental Well that you need to spawn under each Ballistic Slam kill. And Elemental Charge will allow for your Titan to become charged with light upon picking up that Elemental Well. And because you're going to be creating Arc Elemental Wells while using your Arc subclass, you'll actually be getting 2 stacks of charged with light instead of just 1. The next mod you're going to be needing is Heavy Handed, which is a little expensive, costing 7 energy, but is absolutely worth it for this build to work. The description states, while charged with light, regain half of your melee energy when you use a charged melee ability, consuming 1 stack of charged with light. Unfortunately, this description is a tad vague, as it may sound similar to the new Stasis Kickstart mods, but while those will grant ability energy upon ability expansion, Heavy Handed requires a charged melee hit to refund that half melee energy. Heavy Handed also comes with an optional secondary perk that states, while surrounded by multiple combatants, defeating a combatant with a fusion rifle, shotgun, sidearm, or submachine gun adds ammo for that weapon to your reserves. This is a super neat addition to the build, even though it's a little outdated as adding reserve ammo to primaries is no longer relevant, though the free special ammo is definitely nice. I also tested this perk with Legend of Acreus, and no, it does not give heavy ammo. I don't have 1K voices yet, but I'm assuming it also wouldn't work, as if it gave free heavy ammo, it'd be a little overpowered, I think. But anyways, we're getting sidetracked, let's move on. Now, the next and final mod is actually a new one, and you can find it at the Season of the Lost Wayward Compass screen, as seen here for 3 mod components. The mod in question is Well of Striking, and it states picking up an Arc Elemental Well grants you additional melee energy. Multiple copies of this mod increase the effect. This does exactly what this sounds like. Upon picking up an Arc Elemental Well, you'll be given what looks to be about 15% of your melee energy back. This is about double or triple what Melee Kickstart will give you, so it's definitely worth running this over the Stasis 1. Now, personally, I would recommend slotting this onto your helmet, as we're also going to want 2 hands-on mods for that extra super energy upon each melee kill. Luckily this season, the mod is on the artifact, and so you'll be discounted for only 1 energy per mod, but if you don't feel like it's worth one of your 12 selections, it's fairly cheap at base, only requiring 3 energy for each hands-on mod. So combined with Well of Striking, you're only looking at 7 total energy costs without the artifact, and with the artifact, total of 3. And with that, your Missile Titan is prepped and ready to go. So to get started with the gameplay cycle, you'll first need to get charged with light. So find a dreg and slam it to the ground. You should spawn an Arc Elemental Well, pick that up, get charged with light, and wait until your next melee. Once that second melee is up, things begin to snowball. Slam one or all the enemies around you, get that melee energy back, and do it once more. You'll constantly be slamming and generating tons of super energy, allowing for some quick and fun Thundercrash action. And that's it! It's a simple loop, but highly effective in its design. And because you've got some free armor space, you can throw in any extra Elemental Well or Charged with Light mods you may want to add to the build. If you want to ease that scavenger hunt that can sometimes happen when spawning Elemental Wells, you can throw on another new mod called Seeking Wells, which will allow for your Elemental Well to track to you kind of like a Warlock's Ionic Trace. Or maybe you want to just slam immediately and never even have to wait a second. You can throw on a second Well of Striking mod, which will turn the cooldown of your base Ballistic Slam from 6 seconds, which is still really quick, to just only 1 second. And so your melee energy uptime is gonna just always be on. And that's actually what you see most of my gameplay using. I'm using 2 Well of Striking mods just to immediately get those strikes back, and so I can just focus on just missiling down. Also, speaking of cooldown times, your strength stat doesn't really matter. The difference is so minuscule and you'll get your melee energy so fast that you honestly can add your stat points wherever else you want and kind of ignore strength. But if you find yourself dying a lot or you want to just make that startup process as fast and easy as possible, then you can get your strength higher. But just know that once the build gets going, strength is going to be kind of an afterthought. And honestly, if that beginning process is too slow for you, I would recommend going for a Charged with Light mod instead of focusing on strength, as the most important part of getting this build rolling is that initial Charged with Light status to get heavy-handed procced. So something like taking charge might be a good way to go. And of course, how could we forget about Font of Might? Easy free damage, great for cleanup kills, but honestly, just look around, see what mods you have, and throw on whatever you fancy the most. Now, I personally made this build to get super energy for my Falling Star Thundercrash, which, if you didn't know, this exotic chest piece doubles the damage of your Thundercrash super, much like a Celestial Nighthawk Golden Gun. But this also works great with some other Titan exotics. Something like Doom Archers will just obliterate groups of adds. Syntheceps will allow for a much higher Ballistic Slam damage output and increased Thundercrash damage, though your super damage won't be as high as Falling Star, though this makes the melee slam much more viable for higher tier combat. And there's also Worm God Caress, which can do some insane damage if you can get to the max amount of stacks, but the timer is really short for when that damage bonus runs out, so you gotta be fast with the slams that you're doing. As for weapons, I personally really enjoyed Trinity Ghoul. It's a nice cleanup complementary since it's also going to be proccing from your arc melee kills, and will allow you to get those further away chains and just constantly destroy every ad in existence. Like I mentioned earlier, you can totally use this with a Reservoir Burst Fusion Rifle, which you can also pair with Particle Deconstruction, as you should have space on your class item to throw that on, and just have fun with the Fusion Rifle meta. I really like Swashbuckler on my gun, so whether it's a shotgun, sidearm, the perk will practically always be activated, so you'll constantly have that extra damage. Or even something like Monte Carlo. This weapon intrinsically has Swashbuckler, and getting kills with it will give you melee energy. Plus, Anti-Barrier Auto Rifle is on this season's artifact mod, so if you're doing any content that has anti-barrier mods, this might be even one of the best auto rifles to use for that content. Anyways, I hope all you Missile Titans out there enjoy this build. It definitely makes running Strikes, Dungeons, and Gambit much more fun when you don't have Thundercrash ready, and even more exciting that you'll get your super way faster. If you made it this far into the video, thank you so much for watching. I've never made a guide like this before, and it was a ton of fun putting it all together. You know, I love Destiny so much, and I'd love to keep making more videos like this in the future, so let me know if this was at all helpful, if you enjoyed it, and if you want to see more, and, you know, when I get some free time, I'd love to make more videos like this. Anyways, thanks so much, and I'll catch you later.